Hannah, and this is Firm Foundations. Thanks for watching. In this series, we're learning how to discern the truth about LDS history and doctrine. In our last video, we discussed Martin Harris, one of the three witnesses of the Book of Mormon. This episode will dive into the life of David Whitmer, the final of the three witnesses. David Whitmer and his family were some of the very first members of the LDS faith. David met Joseph Smith through their mutual friend Oliver Cowdery in 1828. David listened to their accountings of the Book of Mormon and became convinced that, quote, there must be some truth to the matter, unquote. In June of 1829, David was baptized. Around the same time, he, Joseph, and Oliver experienced a vision together in which the angel Moroni appeared to them, showed them the plates, and testified of their truth and origin. David and Oliver later wrote a joint statement with Martin Harris, who experienced a similar vision. The three men penned a witness of the Book of Mormon, which was published at the front of the first edition of the book and almost every edition since. When Joseph organized the church in 1830, David was one of the 6 original members. Oliver and David received a vision leading them to teach like the Apostle Paul, and both did missionary work as well as worked as church leaders in the early church. In 1834, Joseph ordained David as president of the church in Missouri and as Joseph's successor if he did not, quote, live to God, unquote. David oversaw the gathering of saints in Missouri. In 1837, Joseph and Sidney Rigdon were on the run from law enforcement officials, and the church leadership in Missouri began to crumble. David then parted ways with Joseph Smith and resigned from the LDS Church. He founded his own Reformationist sect known as the Whitmerites, or the Church of Christ. Meanwhile, Sidney Rigdon gave a sermon known as the Salt Sermon, attempting to rein in church dissension and reunite the saints. Unfortunately, his tone contributed to the creation of a secret society of zealots known as the Danites, who wrote a threatening declaration to David and other excommunicated members, warning them to leave the county within 3 days or be forced out. Frustrated by the attacks by the Danites, David leveraged his position as one of the 3 witnesses, stating, quote, if you believe my testimony to the Book of Mormon, if you believe that God spake to us 3 witnesses by his own voice, then I tell you that in June 1838 God spake to me again by his own voice from the heavens and told me to separate myself among the Latter-day Saints, for as they sought to do unto me, so it should be done unto them, unquote. David continued the Whitmerites, also known as the Church of Christ, by ordaining his nephew and giving him the title of First Elder in 1887. The church continued until the 1960s. Because David outlived Martin and Oliver, he was the most interviewed of the 3 witnesses. David was recorded giving his witness of the Book of Mormon at least 71 times. Throughout these recordings, we see a variance in the details and specifics, but the core of his witness remains the same. In 1880, 50 years after the church was originally founded, David was interviewed by a man named John Murphy. Murphy observed that David's vision appeared to be a delusion or scheme, based on the fact that David recounted the experience much like a Quaker or a Methodist would recount a strong spiritual experience. David responded by publishing a proclamation, in which he said, quote, that I have never at any time denied that testimony or any part thereof which has so long since been published with that book as one of the 3 witnesses. Those who know me best well know that I have always adhered to that testimony, and that no man may be misled or doubt my present views in regard to the same. I do again affirm the truth of all of my statements as then made and published. He that hath an ear to hear, let him hear. It was no delusion. So, those are the stories of the 3 witnesses. They led interesting and dynamic lives, and it's clear that all 3 men sacrificed greatly for their beliefs. Over time, some of those beliefs shifted or changed, causing all 3 men to go in different directions throughout their lives. It is not up to us to judge them or decide which of their actions were good, bad, right, or wrong. What we can do is take them at their word. We can observe that throughout their lives they knew, without doubts, that they had experienced a vision and that the Book of Mormon was true and came from God. All of them were capable men who could have had successful, peaceful careers without the interference of Joseph Smith or the Book of Mormon. But, despite their difficulties, none ever denied the truth of their own experience. What we choose to do with that information is up to us as individuals. Thank you for joining us today. Firm Foundations is created by me, Hannah, and we are produced and funded by the More Good Foundation, with special thanks this episode to Rachel Grant. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.